Hello everyone and welcome back to another Batman Miniature Game 3rd edition battle report for the channel. The 91st I think this one is. Either way, today is a 350 rep match between the Suicide Squad and General Batman Squad, kind of mixing the newest releases from the newest starter set with some just other general 3rd edition releases. We'll see how that does on the new table layout that you can see before you. So let's go look at the specifics of both sides. So here is the Suicide Squad taking on the Batman crew today, being led by Bloodsport, even though he's not marked that he has to be a boss. The old team's document hasn't been updated with the Suicide Squad releases, so it's hard to say. Presumably he would be though, but either way he is being the boss today. Joined by Peacemaker and Vigilante at the back there. I'm not sure if we've seen Vigilante yet. Then we have the new Best Boy King Shark, TDK, the Suicide Squad version of Polka Dot Man, and Weasel, and they mostly take up the funding, despite it being like 1850, for just bringing all the guns and whatnot they have on them. But the aerial locator system has been taken by Bloodsport just because that's a thing you can take, fill out a little bit of extra space. And they've got their new mixed deck in the app as well, and the app applies the 10 or 20 rep discount for every 2 miniatures, so that's how they're able to fit into a 350 rep list. And here is the Batman list taking to the table today. One less model in the Suicide Squad, being led by the new Robert Pattinson Batman, not bringing the Drifter this time. It's just purely he will be Batman from the start of the game. That also means he has to select someone else to be his leader because of the, what's the role called? Shadow Agent, is that the one? Yes. So you have to pick another friendly model to be the boss. It is going to be Gordon. It is not going to be the new Azrael, because he's hopefully going to be running in there and getting into all sorts of scrapes. So we need someone in the back line to actually provide and inspire. So that is going to be the Batman Gordon. Officer Martinez is here. Alfred is here until support. Just pretend it's Sean Pertwee, I guess. Or John Pertwee, whichever one. I get him and his father mixed up because I watched Doctor Who back in the day. And then we also have Lorida there as well. Upgrades wise, Batman has the upgraded Batsuit and Kevlar Cowl, so he's immune to crit and plus 1 HP. Azrael has Mentor, so it just gives him Hidden Boss, essentially. And Martinez has a radio. Lorida has an extra magazine, so she's got 3 loads of ammo in total. And that's it. They had like 100 rep or 100 funding spare that they didn't spend on anything. So that is it for the list. We'll get them deployed and be back when that's done. So we are all set up and good to go. The Batman crew are deployed to your left and the Suicide Squad are on your right. The Suicide Squad have taken first activation in turn 1. Assigned colours now as well, forgot to do that before. The red and black Audacity markers will be for the Batman crew. We can take a look where they are in a second. And the Suicide Squad are in the classic yellow and black. So we have Alfred down here, the Intel Support Alfred. Can't remember if I said that or not, but he's not technically on the table. Batman right here with Audacity, Gordon with 1, Lorida hiding behind that tree there. No one started up here because of a light, worried about Bloodsport's guns. Azrael and Martinez down here. Azrael has Audacity. We come over here, most of the Suicide Squad is deployed right on the edge of a table down here. So Weasel, Polka Dot Man, Bloodsport with an Audacity marker, King Shark with an Audacity marker, and then right over the other end of this building we have the other 3, TDK with Audacity, Peacemaker as well, and the Vigilante did not get any this turn, sadly. That's the problem with Suicide Squad, you've got so many people who want Audacity to do things, but you've only got 4. There is no cards being played by either side, so we can jump straight in. So the game got started with the Weasel activating without Audacity, but close enough to his team leader, so he does have a free inspired manipulate for teams, that's how they work. He moved up and he used it to put down a suspect marker. They'll be using the black and yellow ones right there. It would be over to the Batman crew. They do have a pass if they want to use it, or they may not, I guess we'll see. So the Batman crew did activate. Lorida activated, moved up 10 inches, fairly comfortable where she is because Batman is very close, and shot at the Weasel, but he is, well, he's in the night for one, but he's also stealth, so she was firing blind. Normally because of the weapon being assault, wouldn't lose any dice, would just take the -1, but shooting blind takes away 2. So 2 dice rolled against Weasel, 1 got through, neither was a strength die, would do 2 blood, but instantly playing non-lethal ammo to convert that to stun to score this for 2. Not super great. Lorida is capable of much more damage, but to get a card scored nice and quick, it's worth it. King Shark, he's a shark, activated with Audacity, moved up 8 inches to the far side of where the Weasel stopped, removed his own suspect marker very early in the game to be doing this, but turned that into viable commodities. So King Shark is now going to try and hold on to these for the entire game. Good luck. The Batman version of Jim Gordon activated, moved up 8 inches, and then as a special action used Support Batman, which means you get to do an action with the Batman if he's within 8 and line of sight. So Robert Pattinson Batman did a movement action, didn't use all his 10 inches, just got up to there and had some cover in case Bloodsport decides to shoot at him. Then for Jim's actual tactical action, he shot his service revolver into King Shark. It was only getting 1 die against defense 3. He rolled it, got it, 1 blood, 1 stun, but the other non-lethal ammo in the deck, that's both of them gone now, came out of hand to turn it into 2 stun, and it scores for 2. Now, King Shark is huge, so he actually utterly negates that 2 stun damage, so he does not take the damage, but it was dealt him and it was converged, so the card still scores. Ammo used up, the bullets get lost in the belly fat. TDK activated for the Suicide Squad next, moved up to where you can see him there, partially obscured by the corner of the building, then used his detachable arms, which lets him place or reveal suspect markers within 8 in line of sight instead of in base to base. He put down a marker over there next to the lamp, oops, as we hit the table, next to the sewer grating, and it became a snitch, because the Suicide Squad can use snitches too. They can give the Batman crew a taste of their own medicine. Now, someone could probably get to a sewer grating and come through to that, but Vigilante and Peacemaker both have very scary guns, so it might not be a good idea. Officer Martinez activated next for the Batman crew, made use of his radio after moving up his 8 inches? Yeah, 8 inches. Just put down a suspect marker, just bog standard suspect marker, not a snitch or anything else, not even close enough to the edge for secure the perimeter, just kind of hedging his bets for future turns. Polka Dot Man activated, and this is the one where when you start his activation you have to roll a d6. 1, 2, 3 or 4, he gets a free attack action that if he doesn't use, he hurts himself for blood stun, because the interdimensional virus starts messing with his face. If you roll a 5 or 6, nothing happens. Really needed him to get the free attack to have the perfect turn, and he didn't get it. Rolled a 6. So he moved up his 8, and then using his free Inspired Manipulate from Bloodsport back there, he has put down a suspect marker, basically just trying to bait out movement, but it does put him in a very precarious situation. Ideal turn would have been move up and do all that, get a free attack, maybe kill Lorita, but oh well. So, being painfully aware that the only ones who haven't gone for the Suicide Squad yet are all the ones with the good guns, the Batman crew used their pass, and as a result, the Vigilante activated without Audacity, so he just moved up his 8 inches, he was next to Peacemaker, and now he's over there next to the Snitch and hiding behind the van. Intel Support Alfred activated for the Batman crew. Totally forgot he was an informer incidentally, so they have 1 more pass, because he provides 1 as long as he's not KO'd. He moved up 8, he has a built-in radio, but he was also within 8 of Gordon, so he just used his Manipulate to put down a suspect marker, just a normal suspect marker, didn't do anything else. So now it's over to Bloodsport or Peacemaker. So of those 2 it was Bloodsport who activated. He moved up his 10 inches, which is a little bit risky, although he's not exactly a pushover. He, from his Living Arsenal rule, gave himself Assault and a red dot this turn, so he can move and not lose any dice, and he has 1 reroll from that red dot there. He decided to shoot at Lorita, who has a bulletproof vest, so he was losing the strength die to that, and he had 3 dice. Because of the -1 he essentially needed 4s, didn't come up on any of the initial roll, got 1 reroll from the red dot, still didn't get it. 4 dice, didn't get 1 50-50 chance in his favour, which is really, really bad for him. So Lorita took no damage, and Bloodsport did nothing as well. He had a special action he could use on Outlaw Field Commander actually. So you just choose another friendly model within 4, and it gives them, I think it's +2 attack or defense. He will give King Shark 2 defense, because he's holding on to that loot. So Azrael was the second last activation for the Batman crew in turn 1. You are supposed to, at the top of every turn, pick a target for him, but in turn 1 there's no point, he's never going to get into base to base with anyone. So he moved up 12 to where you can see him, he's right in the middle of the field, obviously very at risk of being shot at by Peacemaker, but he is an acrobat, and his armor takes away dice similar to bat armor, so he's not in much danger. He did make use of his God's Banner though, which he can use to heal himself, or for every model within 8, I think it is, with the St. Damas's Zealot trait, which he has, and currently is the only person who has it. You can discard a card, just to try and cycle the deck a little bit. Didn't result in anything scoreable, so he's basically doing nothing with his tactical action. Yeah, so Peacemaker moved up and then immediately shot his very terrifying Peacemaker's gun. Double blood, devastating, so it rolls 2 strength dice, high caliber, so if it's shooting at someone in range, you lose the strength dice last rather than first. But Azrael, as previously stated, is an acrobat, so he just dodged twice in the 2 shots he was having to dodge.
So only self-inflicted stun damage there. Peacemaker's got 2 loads of ammo left and is ready for a brawl. So it's over to the Batman, and he has a bunch of options for things he could do. So it's just a case of what's the best. So the Batman could have gone through the sewer to deny the snitch that the Suicide Squad put down, but they're already in head explodey territory. So he didn't bother. What he actually did was run up to Polka Dot Man standing on the suspect marker Polka Dot Man put down, used Vigilante's work, which means he takes 1 stun damage of effort, to remove the suspect marker, scoring a comb through everything for 2 points. However, the Suicide Squad then played for 1 resource point, comb through everything. When the opponent reveals one of your suspect markers, you can place a suspect marker for free in contact with a friendly model as long as it's not the one closest to the model who revealed it. The Weasel put down a suspect marker right there. So then he actually attacked for his tactical action, because Vigilante's work is a free action costing 1 effort. He efforted once against Polka Dot Man, he's doing double stun. Polka Dot Man did not effort at all and took a casual 12 stun damage, very, very knocking him out. So the 2 stun there self-inflicted to Batman, 1 effort for Vigilante's work, 1 effort for the actual attack, and because 8 cards have not been scored yet, he has the I'm Vengeance rule, so if he efforts he gets 2 dice extra instead of 1. So yeah, a little overkill there, to be fair. And yeah, that's the end of turn 1. Let's go to scoring. So the end of battle round 1, that was a little rough for the Suicide Squad, although they are poised to have a pretty decent turn 2. Not that the Batman crew did amazingly well, they did score a bunch of cards, but there was a lot of attacks except Batman's that could have been better than they were. There's no additional cards being played, so we just have to cover the cards in play. Valuable Commodities stays on King Shark, and the Snitch scores. But that is the only card they've actually scored this turn, so unfortunately that means a head pops, assuming that rule is even still used. It's a little nebulous, so the Weasel is going bye-bye. His head explodes. Amanda Waller is very cross. Polka Dot Man woke up, so he's just knocked down. He's not arrestable at present. And I think that covers everything. Everyone who had stun damage is healed 1. With that, let's jump into battle round 2. So at the top of turn 2, the Batman crew has taken first activation, and there's a plethora of cards to cover. Let's cover the Batman crew first actually, they've only got the 1. Unveiling the Truth, phase 2 card, it is being played on Gordon. Down there, we'll cover who has it in a second, but there's a phase 1 and 2 phase 2s being played by the Suicide Squad, trying to make back those points after losing Weasel there. So their phase 1 is a Joker card, Let's Dance. Leader, Psychic, Free Agent, if they get damaged, scores for 2. So that offers a little bit of protection to like Peacemaker, he's a free agent, Bloodsport is 2. I think this Polka Dot Man's a henchman, but either way. Then their phase 2s, Frozen Assets from the Freeze deck. So it's a 1-turn loot essentially, placed in contact with a suspect marker. It's being placed in contact with the one Weasel put down, so King Shark is holding on to that as well for the turn. So he is holding a lot of loot. And they're also playing a Psychopaths from the Joker deck as well. So whenever anybody's made a casualty or becomes KO'd, marker on this card. Suspect markers are placed, put a negative marker on. If you have more positive, it scores for 3 at the end of the round. So, audacity wise, Bloodsport's got it, King Shark's got it, Peacemaker and Vigilante have it over there. And then for the Batman crew, the Batman has it, Commissioner Gordon has it, Azrael has it, and Officer Martinez has it down there. So, they still have a 1 model, actually no they don't, it's even now. But Alfred gives them 1 free pass. They could pass if they wanted to, they probably won't though. Oh, so a small correction, there was not only 1 card being played by the Batman crew. I knew something sounded wrong. They had a Die Hard to play in phase 1 as well. They had 2 phases. Oh, sorry, Unveiling the Truth is a phase 2. But either way, they did have a phase 1 to play. It was Die Hard. It's being played on Azrael. He is in the firing line, but hopefully he's tanky enough to survive. So the Batman got the turn started and he had some fun. He used his once per game special action, Serum Injection, which is adrenaline essentially. Long short of it is, for attack and defense rolls for the entire round, he gets 2 free efforts. So that was because of I'm Vengeance is still in effect. In attacking case, that's an extra die twice as well. So he split his attacks. He put the strength die into Polka Dot Man on the floor there, knocked him out again, didn't bother putting the damage down. He just needed to do 1 stun. He put everything else he had into Bloodsport, doing double stun, so Bloodsport didn't effort. But he does have a Kevlar vest, which is why instead of 10 stun damage it's 9, but obviously still enough that he is being clean knocked out. Now, at that point a couple of things happen. 2 markers on Psychopaths for 2 KOs. Let's Dance scores, they're both actually free agents, so that is a score for 2 for the Suicide Squad. Batman then did a move action because he's done a tactical action, and then he efforted once hurting himself for Vigilante's work plus his detective role to remove the suspect marker that had been placed there in order to score a comb through everything. So that kind of countered the Let's Dance, but at this rate Psycho-Pass is going to score. However, obviously having 2 knocked out people is very bad for the Suicide Squad. Peacemaker was up first for the Suicide Squad, and his new mechanics, well, an existing rule that has been changed came into effect actually previously in the turn, I believe, because I think a KO counts. It might only be a casualty, need to double check, but we can cover that in a second actually. He moved 8, ignored Azrael, point blank range. Oh, for a special action used rapid fire for +1 shot, so he was rolling his 2 strength dice because of high caliber and devastating. +1 from the rapid fire, -2 from his 2 basic for moving and firing. Into Martinez, all 3 got through. 2 2s, 2 2+s and a 3+ to do that. 6 blood means that Officer Martinez is dead, putting another marker on Psycho-Pass, so that's up to 3, and scoring I'm feeling weird for doing KO, casualty, etc. So he managed to score. Yeah, so he had an existing role called Justice, I think it is, but with the release, or the upcoming release of the Deacon Blackfire Cult, they've added a new role called Quarry, or I'm not sure how to pronounce it. I keep wanting to say Quarry, but that's where you dig for coal. Either way, he has that now. So they've reworked Peacemaker's rules, where if I think it's if a teammate dies. So well, maybe Weasel dying would count. Either way, the model that inflicted the casualty or KO, might just be casualty, gets Quarry 1, and that means I think if he attacks them, they don't get any efforts. It's a rejigging of a rule he already had, just so that it brings in a new mechanic that the new Cult releasing has and uses much more. The actual Quarry thing is not defined anywhere else other than in his rule, as far as I could see. I don't think the compendium's been updated at the time of recording yet. Hopefully that will be soon. It probably isn't going to be super relevant here, but if ever the Deacon Blackfire people appear, then yeah, it's going to be very important to how they work. Gordon activated, moved up 8 into base to base with Bloodsport and is arresting him with his special action. Sadly, Bloodsport is not getting a showing today, and that is scoring a get them off the streets. However, it does also put down another marker on Psycho-Pass, so that's up to 4 now. Gordon, for his tactical action, put down a suspect marker. Actually, he is a detective, so he might as well not put it so close to the polka dot man. Why not put it like there-ish, as long as it's away from that one, which it is. That puts 1 positive marker for the Batman crew on Psycho-Pass. Still got a long ways to go, but hey, he did a thing, removed the leader. If Peacemaker's Justice rule wasn't in effect, it certainly is now. But yeah, the Suicide Squad is not looking so hot. Well, Vigilante activated for the Suicide Squad and also chose to ignore Azrael in order to score some easier points. Ran down here where Officer Martinez was, basically standing on his corpse, removed the enemy suspect marker there, and scored confusion for that being within 8 of the enemy deployment line. Loretta was up next. Without audacity, she stayed exactly where she was and fired her deadly gun at poor King Shark. 3 hits got through, which would have meant 6 blood. However, he does have hardened, so he converted one of it to stun, which he will then ignore thanks to being huge. There is still 5 blood damage to him. He stays on his feet. He's got 9 health, I think. So he's hurting, but still alive. So King Shark activated. All he wants to do is show people his hand, and they're picking on him. He moved his 8 inches. It wasn't enough to go after Loretta, which was the target he wanted, but he got behind Gordon. Going to give him a big old slap on the back. Efforted twice. Gordon didn't. He's doing blood stun, which is the sucky part of this King Shark. Doing blood stun. It is devastating though for 2 strength dice. He efforted twice. Gordon all in all took 3 hits. 2 of them were the 2 strength dice. Oh, and actually he was critted. Does he have bleed on his attacks? Yeah, well, Gordon's knocked down either way, but I think he might have bleed. No, you know what? He gains bleed if the target already has damage because he's bloodthirsty. Or he has blood scent, whatever that's called. So no, Gordon was full health. It's Loretta that's had a bit of damage, I think. Well, either way, Gordon was definitely full health, so that part doesn't apply. He is knocked down though. 3 blood, 3 stun, and because he got at least 2 hits, and after efforting twice, the Soldiers of Fortune card, Search and Destroy, has been scored. Would have liked it to be better. Didn't really have much chance of killing Gordon because he does blood stun, but oh well. So Azrael was up that second last activation for the Batman crew. Still got Alfred to go. Forgot to mention during the setup, the Raise the Plan phase, that he did select Peacemaker as his target because he wants to take him down. That means he has to use his double blood sword against him. His double blood sword is also sharp with fire, but the fire doesn't really matter because what he did first was move into base to base with Peacemaker, then for a special action used Flaming Wave. He put the explosive template over him, anyone covered strength dice 2+, take 1 blood and are set on fire. So he set him and Vigilante on fire, and then he has to take 1 stun, so he's up to 2 in total. Then he just attacked with his double blood sword. Peacemaker efforted twice. Azrael opted not to because he's already self-inflicted 2, and Peacemaker's pretty good at punching. He isn't just about shooting, so he didn't want to build up too much stun damage. So unfortunately, Peacemaker tanked the double blood sword like a boss. His defense roll was fantastic. So nothing there beyond the self-inflicted damage, and the 1 blood from Flaming Wave. Last activation for the Suicide Squad in this turn was TDK still hiding in this alleyway down there. He just put down a suspect marker and turned it into another snitch. And it is going to score because Alfred I don't think can get close enough to cancel it out. And it is over to Alfred to end off the turn. Yeah, there wasn't really much for Alfred to do, especially without Audacity. He has a free manipulate because of the radio he has built in. Well, and it was right next to Gordon. But yeah, he couldn't really get anywhere that would be useful. So he's sticking close to Batman to make use of Batcave support potentially next turn. So he just moved there, which does mean that Snitch is going to score. But we'll cover all that in a second. So then the battle round 2, the Suicide Squad's a bit thin in numbers now and they're building up a lot of damage, but they did score enough in the turn that none of their heads are exploding, so there is that. Forgot to mention that Vigilante has the volunteer role, so he is immune to that, incidentally. But either way, no additional cards being played, so it's just down to the ones in play. The diehard scores for the Batman crew. Azrael lived, so it scored for 2. The Suicide Squad, despite their wounding and casualties, did really well. They scored that snitch, as previously stated. The one TDK dropped in the alley there. Psychopath scores. It had 4 markers on it, I believe, so that's another 3. And Frozen Assets scores, because King Shark held on to them for the turn. And he's still holding on to the valuable commodities, but it's becoming less likely that that's going to stay the case. Either way, though, that's a big comeback points-wise for the Suicide Squad. Let's jump into battle round 3. So we're at the top of turn 3, the penultimate turn. Did forget to mention, but Polka Dot Man did not wake up that time, so he is still eating dirt for this round. There's a few cards being played. Another Unveiling the Truth for the Batman crew. It's to get out of hand is being played on Azrael because he's a free agent, and that applies. It ain't going to score. For the Suicide Squad, though, they're putting 2 more cards in play, both Phase 2s. Another Psychopaths, so we just saw that, and another Frozen Assets. However, this one got placed in base to base with what used to be the Snitch. It's now back to normal suspect marker, so TDK is holding on to Frozen Assets for the turn. We can take a quick look at who has Audacity. Batman does, Gordon does, Lorita does, and Azrael does. Everyone except Alfred, who's left on the table. For the Suicide Squad, King Shark, Vigilante, Peacemaker, and TDK. I.e. everyone who's not unconscious and left on the table for them. The Batman crew did keep first activation as well, which is bad for King Shark potentially, so let's see how that plays out. So Lorita activated, and I need to do a quick correction. You can only have 1 copy of Unveiling the Truth in play at a time, so it was played as a resource right now so that everything squares up. You remove a suspect marker with an 8 to gain a free manipulate, so she just revealed the one in front of her and put it down next to her. So shot the last of the ammo in the gun into King Shark's back. Losing 1 to Harden did not save him, so sadly he's saying "Hurned" in heaven, maybe the other place, and he drops the loot, but Gordon's right next to him, so Gordon's going to be holding it now. There is a potential chance that the Suicide Squad can get that back though, but yeah, that's King Shark gone, and Lorita is now out of ammo. Peacemaker was first up for the surviving Suicide Squad members. He activated Savage Fighter as a special action, and then kind of did a shuffled move action to get rid of the fire. He took 1 blood from that. And Savage Fighter's +1 to attack dice rolls and adds push to his punches. He's got reinforced gloves. Azrael gets 1 free effort because of his armor, and he also reduces damage damage received by 1. So actually, that's exactly 1 stun damage he took all said and done, which was not great. It was only the strength die that got through, despite Peacemaker efforting 3 times and that +1 to attack dice rolls. The defense roll was very, very good. So, it went out of focus, didn't it? Sorry about that. Azrael took 1 stun all said and done. So actually, well, he still would have been pushed back 1 inch. So yeah, he has been pushed into Vigilante in the hopes of doing kind of like a Pong backwards and forwards smack. But he's got a lot of stamina left, I think 6. So Vigilante's going to have to do a lot of work. Well, the other side of the table is pretty safe, so we're staying over here because Azrael wanted to try and once again kill Peacemaker, who is his target. Moved into base to base with him, did a total of 3 efforts, he gets 1 for free from his armor. Peacemaker did 2 efforts in return because that's all we had space for, and all said and done, 2 hits got through for 4 blood, so then he did Flaming Wave again, set Peacemaker on fire again, and did 1 more blood, doing 5. Peacemaker's actually still alive though, because he is very chunky. He's got 8 endurance. So he is alive on 1 health, which he's going to lose when he activates to the fire, come to think of it. So never mind, he's going to die. Then, left the card over there. Azrael, as a resource, played They Must Know Pain to heal 2 of that stun. So Vigilante decided to Scarper, as there was nothing to be gained trying to take down Azrael with the kind of damage he can put out. He moved, took 1 damage from the fire, but removed it for doing a move action. Ran down here with the use of his grapple gun as a special action. I forgot to mention that Peacemaker became the new boss when Bloodsport died. So he had a free Inspire, which he used to get rid of the suspect marker next to Lorida to score a comb through everything real quick. But he still had a tactical action as a result, so he used his nunchucks, which really are more defensive. I think they have protective and defensive on them. Single stun, so not great. He got 2 hits through, all said and done. He is a weapon master, so it's quite easy for him to land it, so that said he did roll 2 1s. But he did 2 stun to Lorida, all said and done. Managed to score a card. It could have been worse. Simple activation for Jim Gordon. He stood up, suffering impaired movement from being knocked down in the previous turn by King Shark. Walked next to Polka Dot Man, arrested him as a special action, and scored to get them off the streets. Now that does also put 1 marker on Psychopaths for the record, but we'll see if that matters. Well, we're already at the last activation of the penultimate round for the Suicide Squad. It was TDK. He moved up 8 inches, just trying to skirt past Azrael real quick, leave him to do what he's doing. Then used his detachable arms to put down a suspect marker all the way down here, well away from anyone who can get to it in time to be another snitch. The Suicide Squad are very clearly losing the table fight. I think they're way ahead points wise though. So we can just cover the final 2 activations for the Batman crew this turn real quick. Alfred just moved 8, put him in that alley. And then Batman made use of his Batclaw and shot down the table after Vigilante. Efforted a full 3 times, Vigilante did not. He had rerolls on his defense, the attack 4 versus defense 4. However, there was only 7 objective cards at present scored for the Batman crew, so he still has those extra dice from efforts. All said and done, 8 through, Vigilante is knocked out, and he scored a They Won't See Me Coming, because he was out of line of sight when the turn began. So I scored for 1, so now they've scored 8 cards, so now he's generating an Inspire Bubble as opposed to getting the extra dice. Peacemaker dies as soon as he activates in the final turn, so really the Suicide Squad is just down to TDK. Yeah, let's go to scoring. So at the end of Battle Round 3, Vigilante woke up, so he is conscious and might get a turn in the final round, whatever that will mean. No cards being played by either side. The Unveiling the Truth stays in play for the Batman crew. The Suicide Squad, though, they're doing really well with scoring. It's just a shame they're all dying. The snitch that TDK put down with his extendo arms, or detachable arms, that scores for 3. Psychopath's got 2 on it there thanks to the knockout right at the end there, versus 0. So it scored for 3 as well. And TDK held on to the 1 turn loot for frozen assets. So they scored a bunch, a ridiculously large amount of points actually. And the valuable commodities they have in play is currently with Gordon, so that's not going to score at present. It is potentially possible it might, and with that let's jump into the final round. Dawn of the final day, top of round 4, the final turn. And there's 2 cards being played by the Suicide Squad, what little there's left of them. Don't really need to go over Audacity. The 3 surviving Suicide Squad members have it, and everyone surviving for the Batman crew except Lorida has it. But the Suicide Squad finally got their Die Hard. It's being played on TDK. Good luck. And they're Psychopaths. The last one is in play as well. That's got a shot. The Valuable Commodities is in play, but the enemy team, Gordon, is holding it. The Batman crew retained first activation again. Let's see how it goes. Well, Azrael started, efforted 3 times, split his attacks, put just the strength die into Peacemaker, which did get through. That was his target again. Not that it matters because we're in the last turn of the game, but Azrael would now gain 1 free manipulate for the rest of the game. Just entirely for the rest of the game. So ideally you want to get it earlier, obviously. The rest of his basic attacks, including those extra efforted ones, went into TDK, lost 1 for light armor. Actually, I just realised he has 1 free effort, so it should have been only 2 stun damage, but it doesn't matter. It makes no difference. He got 6 through with his double blood sword. TDK has 6, so he just got a double kill. That means the Die Hard can't score, and for also taking out Peacemaker, scored back to Arkham for taking out the boss. Interestingly, it would have been curious if the fire had taken him out, would that have triggered this card as well? Either way, though, doesn't matter because he stabbed him through the chest with a flaming sword. So that scored, that's basically game right there, but the Batman crew need to do catch up because they're definitely losing this in points if they don't score more. But first, Vigilante gets a turn. So Vigilante stood up, ran over here, revealed the suspect marker, and scored a comb through everything. The final one for them, I believe. So the way this can go pretty easily, because he only has one willpower left. Batman walks up, knocks him out. Gordon goes, arrests him. I don't think they have an arrest card in hand, but they could definitely do that, at which point it would be a tabling, and in this house, a tabling means that one side wins. However, I think officially what you're supposed to do is the game ends at that precise point, and you add up the scores and see who wins. That's not how we normally do things, however, we are going to play out the rest of the activations the Batman crew has real quick. But we are going to count it at points, because I think the Suicide Squad have absolutely smashed the Batman crew with points. And I'm just really curious what the final score will be. But let's handle these activations real quick. Yeah, so just real quick, Batman moved in, because he actually did have a get them off the streets in hand. Just rolled the strength die, it got through, so he got re-knocked out. Gordon walks over, special action, arrests Vigilante, scores a get them off the streets, and at that point it would be a tabling. But again, we're doing this to points. And Alfred is the only other one that matters. He walked up over there, he did have Audacity, sorry, there it is there. He revealed that suspect marker there, which puts 2 on unveiling the truth. Oh, actually, there's still 2 suspect markers. I forgot about the last snitch that TDK put down. It has to be superior, doesn't it? When this card has more. Oh, yeah, it doesn't score. Never mind. So that can't score. So that's gone, because there's no one who can go over. And of the cards in play for the Suicide Squad, their Die Hard obviously doesn't score, because TDK died. Valuable Commodities was with Gordon, doesn't score. Their last Psychopath does score, because 2 people died that round. So that scores for 3. And there would have only been... yeah, Loretta could put down a suspect marker which wouldn't have countered it. So yeah, that did score. Let's go to the final scores. I'm really curious how this one turned out. So yes, a tabling, but let's see what the final scores actually were. Batman, Suicide Squad, let's start with the Batman crew. So that is 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. Low for Batman crew, kinda. 23 plays. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, okay, 34. Yeah, the Suicide Squad absolutely smashed them points wise, so however you want to look at it, the Suicide Squad lost on the table, but they won in points. So you can count it as a Batman win if you count tablings as the ultimate form of win, or if you only go by points. That was the Suicide Squad. Despite being wiped out to nothing, they scored. It was unfortunate that they did so poorly in their first turn. They lost to Weasel. An extra body on the table could definitely have helped a lot in the subsequent rounds, maybe kept them in it a bit more. Well, they won though, technically. So they did really well. The new Suicide Squad team and the new deck options helped them out a bunch. The Batman crew, they got a little bit unlucky that their snitches were towards the back of the deck. They only had time to score 1, which definitely was a hindrance. Azrael not doing enough killing power against Peacemaker probably didn't help either. Should have went after squishier targets. TDK, Weasel if he hadn't been removed, Polka Dot King, Polka Dot Man, that kind of thing. But either way, that was a fun one. Nice to see the Suicide Squad score so highly. Shame about all the murder. But either way, if you enjoyed, please do consider subscribing if you want to see more, or leaving a like, or if you want to go above and beyond to support what we do here, consider pressing the thanks button, becoming a channel member, or checking out the Patreon. See you in the future for more. Thank you for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day. Ta-ta for now.